pass på vänster här.
Känner du igen dig?
Ja, men det är ett annat hus.
Är det?
Ja.
We must pledge once more to march into the future. Let us keep that promise, that American promise.
Fight with me. Fight for what's right for our country.
Människorna här står inför ett vägval. Vi har rest runt i Amerika och talat med ledande experter i Washington, liksom vanliga väljare, och alla tycks överens. Kampen mellan Barack Obama och John McCain handlar om vart Amerika är på väg.
Men egentligen så började den här historien faktiskt för 16 år sedan. Det var då en ung Bill Clinton utmanade republikanerna och den gamle George Bush som då satt i Vita huset.
Vi bevakade det valet tillsammans på plats här i USA.
Pågående
Med
presidentvalskampanj.
tanke på Bill Clintons redan stora försprång.
George Bush har skruvat upp tempot.
Även det valet beskrevs då som det viktigaste på decennier, eftersom den ekonomiska krisen var djupare än på mycket, mycket länge.
I samband med det valet 1992 för 16 år sedan så träffade jag ett antal amerikanska väljare runt om i landet.
Det är alltså dags att besöka de väljarna igen.
And the last 16 years has really been a disaster.
Our economy is worse now than it was in '92.
It's oil. That's it. If you can't supply goods and services to people, you don't have a nation. You don't have an economy.
The last 8 years, it has been a travesty.
I really don't believe that the world is ever going to return to what it was. I don't think that we're going to be able to say, okay, good, we're safe.
The jobs aren't coming back. The immigrants aren't going home. The price of gas isn't coming down. And we're going to have to fight more wars to preserve our way of living. Now, the question is, who can lead us from here?
How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Fine.
Hi.
This is Bengt. You look exactly the same.
Do I?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's good. Haven't aged a bit. Come on in there.
But this is not the same house as in '92.
You're a little...
Guys, how are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
So you're in the kitchen as you were when we left you in '92.
Never lets me out.
Well, it's Hannah's birthday.
Good to see you. Hi.
Hi, I'm Bengt.
Peter Pierce. Nice to meet you. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
So, well, welcome.
You look young.
And today we're left with a Democrat who wants to increase spending, as best as I can tell, or a Republican who wants to decrease spending. So the economy is the main issue. Hampshire is generally considered a Republican state. The election this year is going to have a dramatic outcome. Come on, Am.
New Hampshire var för 16 år sedan en delstat med stora ekonomiska problem. Familjen Pierce hus sjönk i värde. Peter, han var anställd på en restaurang, men arbetsmarknaden, den var osäker.
We're fortunate that my husband has a job and I'm able to stay at home with 3 children. But a lot of people aren't that lucky. Where he works, he sees a lot of people who aren't as fortunate. Hey. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay, buddy.
Listen.
Oh.
both fat rolls.
Sam, look, I loved you. What happened?
You had a lot. You were real uncertain about, you know, the economy and who you were going to vote for. I mean, you were kind of.
Who did you end up voting for? You know, I've been asked that like 4 times and I don't remember.
You voted for Bush back then?
Yeah, I think I did.
I got Hannah.
No, so little.
Our standard of living has risen in the 16 years.
Our standard of living, but that's because we've gotten older.
I mean ours as a people, Americans. Economic conditions are better than they were in '92.
I'm going to say worse. I'm going to say worse. You know, if you look at gas prices, if you look at food prices, if you look at a lot of the other economic conditions that, you know, we're living with, I would say things are not necessarily better.
Slow down, don't go out there, you'll fall the ice.
Well, the front pretty much still looks the same though.
Remember tooling around here on your bicycle?
Familjen tar oss med till sitt gamla hus.
But wow, I can't believe they've put all this back here.
Det blir en liten promenad genom 16 år för en amerikansk medelklassfamilj. År av både upp- och nedgångar. Också en berättelse om Amerika.
We were describing them in 1992. So we left there and we moved down here, and 2 weeks later I lost my job. I remember sitting on that front, those cement steps there, just wondering what the hell I was going to do. I had no idea. I just didn't know. I was at a complete loss. Mrs. Prescott, we'll give her the short version.
They're Swedish television. They did the interview with us 16 years ago and we lived down the street.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So where was I in my story, Sam?
You were talking about...
I lost my job.
Losing your job.
Right, and we came down here and then we bought a pickup truck.
Yeah.
The old F-150.
The green one.
The green machine, right? With a credit card because we didn't have any money, any cash. Somehow your mother got a credit card. You must have lied to somebody. And then creative financing, and we started painting.
Peter Pierce är the self-made man.
I painted that home for those folks.
Idag har han och Heidi ett familjeföretag.
How are you?
In the last week we've been working, I would say, starts at 6 in the morning and goes until about 9, 10 o'clock at night.
Before we go. Okay? No problem. Okay, bring the stuff with you. Take it with you.
He's the job site guy.
She's the boss. Don't ever forget it. Oh, that line across there.
Den amerikanska drömmen är förverkligad, men det är en dröm som är hotad.
I heard something the other day. The jobs aren't coming back. The immigrants aren't going home. The price of gas isn't coming down. And we're going to have to fight more wars to preserve our way of living. Now, the question is, who can lead us from here?
It's ready to go. This was hung in front of the shed, and everyone in the neighborhood knew exactly who we were voting for.
Change has been the big buzzword around the primaries this year, and I think it's going to happen. Now, I don't know if it's going to happen with John McCain or Barack Obama. You know, hopefully John McCain. You know.
Tonight, I have a privilege given few Americans. The privilege of accepting our party's nomination for President of the United States. A rare privilege.
Experience in international affairs, the war. That's one of the reasons I think McCain would be a better candidate.
I know how the world works. I know the good and evil in it. I know how to work with leaders who share our dreams of a freer, safer, and more prosperous world, and how to stand up to those who don't.
Today is the last day of August, and we're taking our oldest daughter to the University of New Hampshire today so that she can begin her junior year in a couple of days. Is that right?
On Tuesday.
On Tuesday.
And then she's moving into an apartment.
And she's moving into an apartment for the first time. Very exciting.
I'm really excited to move into my first apartment, so it's exciting. I'm ready.
It's time to lay claim to a candidate. I do feel confident about McCain now. Absolutely.
Chelsea lämnar fadershuset. Liksom miljoner andra unga i Amerika ser hon fram emot friheten på universitetet. Och först nu får vi höra hennes tankar om föräldrarnas val.
It is important what my parents think because I trust their judgment. But at the same time, I think on some of the points, they're a little too closed-minded or they're a little too self-interested. And I hate to say that because they're my parents.
My children, they're a little bit more blown in the wind in terms of their political beliefs. But that's to be expected.
I mean, they seem to think that Barack Obama means flat-out communism.
I could see Chelsea drifting to the left day by day.
They seem to think that he would be too much change. And I think John McCain wouldn't be enough change to get the job done. So, I don't know, I'm just not sure that their decision would be the best one for the country. I think John McCain would be the best decision for them and their business and what they do in their personal lives. But I think that Barack Obama might be better for the country. Even though that might mean higher taxes for them and less for our family, but I mean, that's something I would be willing to sacrifice. I think that that's important. Thank you, my mom. It's my dad. Hi, Dad.
I accept your nomination for presidency of the United States. It's time for us to change America, and that's why I'm running for president of the United States.
Valet 92, då var det ju ett rätt viktigt val för amerikanerna och det var verkligen en vattendelare, eller hur?
Du har sagt till mig att amerikanare, det är bilar. Amerikaner, det är människor.
Ja, det är sant. Så är amerikaner.
Ja, det gjorde du. Finns inspelat på bandet.
Nej.
Vi fortsätter söderut till Asheville i North Carolina. Vi är på väg till en familj som för 16 år sedan fick uppleva något alldeles speciellt.
Asheville is what we would consider a small town, a small city. It's about 60,000 people in the city limits.
1992 var familjen Harris ett exempel på en allt större svart medelklass. Familjen utstrålade stabilitet och harmoni.
I'm an educator with the Asheville City School System. And this is Stacy and Lisa. And Stacy is a third grade advanced elementary and Lisa's a first grade advanced elementary.
We live in a modest home here in a modest neighborhood.
That's why I praise you, I lift you up, and I magnify your name. That's why my heart is filled with praise.
All our children, they sing on the choir, and we go to church every Sunday. It's a regular Sunday service.
That's why my heart is filled with praise.
The family decided to go to Washington, D.C. this year for vacation, someplace we've never been before.
The last time I was here was back in 1992, and that's when my father got an invitation to the Rose Garden, the White House, to ask the president a question.
Mr. President, my name is Roy Harris. I'm from Asheville, North Carolina. Would you consider coming to Asheville and having lunch with my 7-year-old and 5-year-old and telling them what you've done for them?
Yes, I'd love to talk to them, but I can't pledge to be there in your living room as much as I'd like it. But don't take back the invitation. You might be surprised.
And he basically asked him if he would come to our house to eat lunch, and we thought it was just a joke.
There were 2 sharpshooters on the church roof. There were about 20 out in the front, and there were about 5 in the breakfast room.
You'll be careful who you ask next time. How are you?
You never thought we'd show up, did you?
Nice.
How are you? Well, we had a nice welcome out there.
It was almost like a herd of cattle running up the steps, up that little bank there. And I said, and then it dawned on me how big it was.
We're very proud to be here. Who would have thought when you invited us?
I would have never thought, you know.
Before, they really did not need the black vote to be elected, but they need the vote now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, once again.
Well, come say hi to you guys.
Ja, det kan man kalla ett oväntat besök. Det måste ha varit en enorm grej för familjen här.
Och vet du, jag har alltid undrat hur de röstade till slut.
I will go and cast my vote, and without telling anyone who I'm going to vote for. I voted for Bill Clinton. I'm a Democrat to my heart.
I have not made up my mind yet. I've decided now that this is, be open-minded about it. I have not made up my mind yet. I've decided now that this is, be open-minded about it.
I voted for President Bush at that time for sentimental reasons. I thought that, of all the candidates that was out there, at least I had gotten to talk to the President of the United States and he'd listen to me.
I have found a new chapter in my life. I am divorced. My daughters are grown. They've both graduated from college, and I have been truly blessed.
Seems like 16 years ago wasn't that long ago, but then when you look at the video, it really has been a long time.
Really, what I said is I'm nervous.
Please come in. The girl said, I'm so nervous. I said, what are you nervous about? You got us here.
It's history, that I was a part of and will always be a part of, but it's just funny watching the video because Stacey and I were so young.
Come out and see the White House, what I saw when I was 7 years old. Everything looks the same, but at the same time, it's changed.
It'll be a very memorable year, with 2008 being the year I graduated and the second presidential election that I'll be able to vote in and, have my vote mean something.
Det märks att vi är i den amerikanska södern. Jag såg just ett monument där borta över att man faktiskt sålde slavar här.
Ja, vi är söder för kaffet. Det är ganska blaskigt, minst sagt. Nej, men det är ju en svart presidentkandidat som är på alla läppar här. Visst är det så?
Det märks. Inte minst i skolan.
We want to talk about the presidential election, okay? But I want to ask you, who are you pulling for? Raise your hand. Obama. You pulling for Obama. Who you pulling for? And if you pulling for John McCain, that's fine. Say him as well. Obama.
John McCain.
John McCain. Oh, Jesus, John McCain. Okay, now I want to ask you something. Why are you pulling for John McCain? And it's okay, but why are you pulling for John McCain?
I think it's because my parents are going for him, too.
Okay, your parents are going for him. Why are you pulling for Barack? Or Barack?
Because I just want a black president at some time.
Okay, you want a black president? That's a good answer, too.
The reason why I would pick Barack Obama because he's making good changes in the good country and stuff like that.
So he's making good changes for our country. Okay. Now, can you tell me just a little bit more, like what type of changes?
Like not having a fight between Iraq and having soldiers killed.
So in other words, Barack is going to end that war in Iraq. What do you all know about that war in Iraq? Talk, because your dad is military. Talk. It's a senseless war. And by the way, Kathy, the person that you were picking for president said that our troops could stay in Iraq for another 100 years if they need to. So that means your daddy could stay in the military for another 100 years. I can support whomever I want to support as long as I don't browbeat another person for the candidate that they supported. Like I have some students that support John McCain. And when they told me that, I said, oh, that's good. And I went and I just moved on. So I think everybody's entitled to their own personal opinion. And we have something in our school system that's called kids voting. In my class, Barack Obama won.
Teachers, and don't you forget. We're all teachers, and don't you forget.
Never give up and do your best.
I may become a little bit more selfish now. That's part of it, just trying to just figure out where I fit in life now and thinking about myself more so than my family.
Makarna Harris har haft personliga problem som vem som helst. Men när det gäller Barack Obama är de överens. Förhoppningarna är stora. Samtidigt finns det fortfarande en växande oro.
People may even think that Obama was a viable candidate, but they may not be able to bring themselves to pull that lever or punch that Chad or punch that dot or whatever it takes. It's going to be a test of how far we've come as a country on the matter of race when it comes to the election.
Vilken betydelse har egentligen rasfrågan i valet? Vi vill veta mer om det och om andra komplexa skeenden som blir uppenbara längs vägen. Vi söker upp några av USAs främsta politiska experter i Washington. Det är kommentatorer som vi mött i olika sammanhang under 16 år.
The question of the race issue is one that we all like to think we understand, and all we understand is that we don't understand it at all.
I realize that I'm not the likeliest candidate for this office. I don't fit the typical pedigree. What the naysayers don't understand is that this election has never been about me. It's about you.
There was a recent poll that asked, is Senator Obama's race an issue for you in the election? And overwhelmingly people said no. But we've seen that with African-American candidates in the past, where polls say it's not an issue, and then they end up either losing when they were favored to win or predicted to win, or winning with a smaller percentage of the vote.
Americans tell the pollsters that they personally are willing to vote for a black for president. But then when you ask them, well, what do you think about your neighbors? Are your neighbors willing to vote for a black for president? You have about 20% of Americans saying they're not sure that their neighbors are willing to vote for an African-American candidate.
How it's going to play out, I just don't think we're going to know until the election.
And in the words of Scripture, hold firmly, without wavering, to the hope that we confess. Thank you. God bless you. And God bless the United States of America.
We've learned a
lot from people like you on these bus trips. I'll get back on a bus when I'm president. I will stay in touch with you. I will not hide behind the wall of the White House. I will stay with you.
Hello, thanks for being here. Hi, hello. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. How you doing, man? Good. Very yes, sir.
Vi har fortsatt ner i den amerikanska södern. Livet för många jordbrukare här har varit hårt. Det blir särskilt tydligt när vi möter familjen West, 16 år efter Bill Clintons spontana besök.
The bus stopped right here in the highway right there, and Gary stood right here, and I can't imagine what went through his head that day.
I was on the way to the field, and I went over to my stand to get some Coca-Colas to carry to the field. And along comes Clinton, and it was really a surprise.
We've got a plan, we've got ideas, we're going to change this country. I think we're going to depend on folks like him.
It was a very historic moment, and it changed our lives, probably, I would think.
So, sir, what do you think about the governor's visit?
I appreciate him stopping. I wish him all the luck in the world. I mean, I think we need a change, and I believe the man to do it.
You gonna vote for him?
Yeah. I mean, I supported Bush last time, but in the last 6 months, I like him. I like what he said and what he's,
Thank you, folks.
He was right, and he was in his chair. Well, it looked like he had been cutting wood all morning. It looked like he had been, he'd probably come in because he used to take a nap during like lunchtime. And it looked like he just went to sleep maybe.
It was just 20 years too soon. It was just 20 years too soon, and I really feel like the built-up stress from all those years of farming was probably the big cause of his death. Farming's the only profession I know of that you can work 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, and still lose money. He passed away on January 14, 2006. And this is where we scattered a good portion of Gary's ashes. We miss him terribly, and it's a wonder that we're even continuing to go on without him. It was like hitting a brick wall going 100 miles an hour.
Delia West har kämpat på, och Delia representerar idag den vita medelklass som känner sig bortglömd och vilsen i det nya Amerika.
Our economy is worse now than it was in '92. A lot worse.
Well, the last time Daddy didn't make negative numbers was 1996. So that says a lot, I guess.
It's a sad situation when there's a lot of other people, especially in the South, that feel the same way we do. That we don't have anybody that we feel that would be a wonderful president. Now, I think Hillary would have made an excellent president. And I think if Obama had chosen her as vice president, it would have been a good team. But with his lack of experience, I'm just real uncertain about what's going to happen. And, of course, we don't need another 4 years of Bush. So, I feel like McCain will just continue what Bush has started. But we'll just have to wait and see, I guess. Today, I'm kind of uncertain about our situation, and I have not quite made up my mind as who I will vote for. I'm still undecided.
I think there are some similarities and some differences between 1992 and today. You had a newcomer in the face of Bill Clinton, who was someone who's just a phenomenal campaigner. He connected with ordinary Americans very easily. It's not as clear that Barack Obama does that. He doesn't have the experience, and that is something that Americans will think about. And I think another problem for him is that he's still not very well known. He's a fairly new face on the American political scene.
This is the referendum on Barack Obama. If people can trust him enough, he'll be president. If people don't trust him enough, John McCain will be president. And I think that's what it comes down to.
McCain has said that he's not much interested in economics, but economics are the top problem for most Americans these days. Another substantial weakness for him is his ties to President Bush. This is a very unpopular president right now, and the country is not doing very well, so that's certainly a weakness overall.
3 double quarter pounder with cheese.
3 of them?
Yeah.
Here you go, sir.
Who are you going to vote for in the presidential election?
I'm not sure yet. I think Obama.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. Because my sister told me to. I'm not
Okay.
sure yet. I haven't thought of it.
All right.
Have a good day.
You too.
Amerikanska ungdomar har oftast varit likgiltiga inför presidentvalen. Men den här gången är det annorlunda. En förändring är på gång. Och det tycks framförallt gynna en av kandidaterna.
Obama.
I'm pushing for Barack. All the way. It makes me feel proud being African American that I can do is like I can do anything. He can do it, then I can do it.
Probably if I didn't have parents and I didn't have them their opinions weighing on me, I would probably do what a lot of kids my age are doing and be an Obama supporter. There are very few young McCain fans. I think mostly everyone's voting for Obama my age.
Obama should win, and I still think he will. And I think he has the possibility of winning by a big margin if he's putting a lot of money and effort into registering people. If you're in some black neighborhoods in Ohio, you can't go a street corner without being pulled over and given a voter registration card. He has the money to be everywhere.
I've actually went on his website and read different materials about him, and I watched the news and I read stuff online.
Du får in allt på telefon. Du
Ja,
får in
det är
SMS.
fantastiskt. Det sättet att bedriva kampanj på nu är ju helt annorlunda jämfört med 16 år sedan. Man kan få på SMS och internet dessutom.
So how about you? Are you following the campaigns with any enthusiasm?
Of course.
Yeah?
Yes.
Who are you for?
Obama, of course.
Of course?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Better for the young.
Yeah?
Yeah, hopefully.
Thanks for coffee.
Men han når dem i nya medier, i mobiltelefonerna och på internet.
This is an email from the Barack Obama campaign. Actually, this one specifically is from Joe Biden, talking about his speech from last night.
My information politically primarily comes from the internet. This allows me to cover a lot broader spectrum of information. It's made access a two-way street easier for everybody, both the voters and the candidates.
Och så det här sättet att hitta grupper som med sina köpvanor då kan vara, vad är det heter?
Microtargeting.
Ja.
Det är väldigt sofistikerat.
Ja.
Using consumer trends and applying them to candidates for political purposes. For example, does somebody who drives a Volvo more likely to vote for Obama? Someone who drinks whiskey is more likely to vote for McCain. And so rather than just targeting people based on their partisanship, it's on their lifestyle issue.
This amazing country can do anything we put our minds to.
I'll ask Democrats and independents to serve with me, and my administration will set a new standard for transparency and accountability.
And I will restore our moral standing so that America is once again that last best hope for all who are called to the cause of freedom, who long for lives of peace, and who yearn for a better future.
Good morning, I'm Nick Young with the CBS World News Roundup. Gas prices are up another 17 cents over the past 2 weeks to a nationwide average of $3.79 a gallon. It's worse in Chicago, where the price is $4.07.
Vi far västerut, över Mississippi till St. Louis. Vi ska återse makarna McGinnis.
Jag undrar om det är lika mycket delade meningar idag.
Det lär vi få se. Även om de tycktes vara ett väldigt, väldigt kärleksfullt par, så som de kommer fram på filmen, så tror jag nog att de politiskt sett har olika åsikter fortfarande. Här är det.
Det är det huset.
I think you could probably call this typical American middle-class suburban living.
It's an easier way of living. You work hard, you come home and you relax.
And there's not a lot of crime out here, too.
Running a small business which encompasses...
De var då exempel på den stora gruppen äldre amerikaner som levde ett gott liv. Men de var speciella, för de hade helt olika politiska åsikter.
John and I have been married 14 years. I have 2 children, and John has 3 children, 3 girls. Our dull, boring lives.
Right, very dull.
And my opinion on the presidential candidates, I'm for Bill Clinton.
I have to vote for Bush because I'm afraid of what we will get with Clinton.
They need all these. Look at us.
Look at that. I hope in 4 years we can sit here and say, I was wrong, if Clinton gets elected.
Well, what if George Bush gets elected and you sit here and say, I was wrong? That's a pretty big risk.
It may be a risk, but I'll take it.
Say, I was wrong. That's a pretty big risk. We were both wrong.
Right.
Who knew?
We were both wrong.
I actually still have that sweater. And so do you.
Right.
Oh, gosh.
John och Barbara tar oss med till sin lilla business. Som vanligt åker de i varsin bil.
Now, I want you to have some ice cream. This is our company, and we make and sell ice cream. All the ice cream you could possibly want. What are you having, honey?
I would just like 1 scoop of sherbet ice cream.
Okay, honey. When's your baby due?
Next Wednesday.
What? Next Wednesday?
I'm most definitely done.
Thank you,
Have a good
sweetie.
day.
You enjoy that, honey. You're a good sport. Next week?
Yeah, next week.
You gonna vote for Obama? Are you? Yeah. We're part of the fabric of this neighborhood. We've been here so long. 427, sweetie. You don't need a bag, do you, babe?
How long are you gonna do this?
I don't know till we drop dead.
I don't know.
I don't know. We like it here. The Bible says do whatever your hands find to do, and this is what our hands find to do.
John och Barbara är båda fromt troende, liksom miljoner amerikaner. Han är 76 och hon är 62 år, och som många andra i pensionsåldern här arbetar de vidare. Pengar är trygghet när allt kan hända. John har varit med om en trafikolycka, och i bilen på väg hem förklarar han mer av sitt missnöje med Amerika av idag.
You've heard of these, the so-called religious right. Well, you know what? I am part of the religious right. We have people in this country who have no religion at all. They're convinced there's no God. They are convinced that this all happened, just happened. We came out of slime and we developed. Well, you know what? I don't believe that, never will believe that. And I was raised going to church. I was raised with a background of knowing that there is salvation for mankind. And I really and truthfully believe that we are his creation. You know, we got involved in a war.
I know.
We shouldn't have done it. I'm disappointed in the Bushes and the Clintons, and the last 16 years has really been really a disaster when you put it all together. And
You know, you weren't that crazy about Bush, but you were going to vote for him because you didn't want to vote for Clinton because you were afraid of him.
Right.
But you're going to vote for McCain because he feels safe to you?
You know,
you think he'll keep you safe?
No, the problem with any one of them, I don't feel safe. I don't feel anything, but I got to vote for somebody.
I think that we're all going to have to just watch and listen.
Well, hopefully, we won't have to watch and listen to the Democrats.
But you have to watch and listen to the Democrats if you're going to make a choice. But if you're just going to vote for
I've already made a choice.
Well, okay, then there's no point in watching and listening. There's no point in telling you anything. You're just going to vote for McCain, that's it.
I'm just going to vote for McCain.
Okay, well, then there's no point in... Okay, that's fine. I decided to support Barack Obama because I thought he had the best chance, and I thought he had the best message, and I do like listening to him. And as his endorsements came along, I just wonder if that isn't what the country is looking for. It's a big, big change. And I think having an African-American president would be good for the nation.
När vi träffar makarna McInnes igen har bensinpriset gått upp kraftigt och Barbara har oväntat bytt sida.
Well, you know, the last time we all got together, I was in the Obama camp. We started pushing Obama, especially me, and I thought he would be good for the community I serve here. I thought he'd be a wonderful example. The problem is that since we have this whole gas and oil problem, I don't think he understands the national economy. And I think because of that, I think it disqualifies him. And if there isn't enough oil, we have to get more oil, and he doesn't want to drill. The nation will come to its knees without oil.
So this one question disqualifies Obama in your view?
In my view.
And does that make McCain a Republican a first-time vote? I mean, is it the first time you vote for a Republican?
Yes.
We'll produce more energy at home. We will drill new wells offshore, and we'll drill them now. We'll drill them now.
You voted for Bill Clinton, and now you've been working for Obama.
How does it make me feel? Great. You know, I feel fine. I don't have a problem with. I mean, he's wrong on this.
Americans are a very pragmatic people, and so the way they're viewing the political candidates is in terms of pragmatism. The distances in the United States are so vast. Americans are used to driving their cars. We now in this country have more families with 3 cars than no cars.
There's definitely some truth in calling it the gas election. 1, that symbolizes people's discontent with the economy, and 2, it symbolizes the fact that Americans have to wake up, but haven't quite as yet, to the new reality of the post-fossil fuel era that must arrive sometime in the next few decades.
I'm not opposed to solar or wind or nuclear. Bring it on. In the meantime, we have oil in the ground. All we got to do is get it out of there. Whoever wants to drill for it, it's my vote.
Vi tar båten till Long Island utanför New York. Vi ska träffa Kevin Shea. Kevin anser, liksom en stor minoritet amerikaner, att miljön idag är den viktigaste frågan i valet och för världen.
It's a large geodesic dome, right, made out of wood, 70 feet in diameter. I wanted something that was really energy efficient, where I can actually sustain myself energy-wise. I'm more than saving money, I'm generating a revenue from alternative energy on my property. A combination of solar and wind power. And don't judge me on my form, 'cause I'm sure I should be using more of my legs. Our presidential election is in November. And you don't see Obama and you do not see McCain throw in themselves and say, you know what, one of the most highest priorities we have is the environment. It's discouraging because I know that they're intelligent people. They're not idiots.
It's remarkable how little global warming and environmental problems have played in this election. Because if you take polls on those issues, they poll at 80–85%. And yet we have yet to have a candidate really make such issues front and center.
A long-term environmental plan would be great. One that's well thought out and may have spoken with a lot of economists and also people and environmentalists.
I just don't think any politician wants to confront Americans with the stark reality that the era of cheap gas and cheap oil is over.
I'm not going for the Democrat and the Republican. And it's multiple issues, that's one of them. The environmental would be that they don't really have a good stance on it. And instead, I have opted to vote for an independent because I believe that there are other things out there besides blue and red.
There are still some people, again, very small numbers in current polls, who prefer one of the independent candidates overall, and that could hurt one of the major candidates in the final analysis.
Another plane coming. Boom!
Oh, man. What's going on? Yo, that's terrorist shit, bro. That's terrorist.
I remember exactly where I was.
I was in my classroom.
I was driving to work at the university.
And someone came over the intercom and said, turn your televisions on.
And people were running off the streets into the bars or anywhere that a TV was set up that they could watch what was happening.
They took us all into the gym and they sat us down and they explained to us the situation.
I was frightened, as were my students.
I was in shock.
Why would an airplane be flying into that building?
And my first thought was, we've got to take revenge.
At that point, I received, by the time I got home, over 100 emails from friends around the world, from Europe. Sorry. I had friends that died.
–11 september är utan tvekan den enskilda händelse som präglat Amerika mest under de här 16 åren. En av dem som drabbades personligen var faktiskt Kevin Shea. Han var brandman då och när husen föll samman skadades Kevin svårt. Här ligger han. Han var en hårsmån från döden.
Here you go. I was found, see this is it, about 200 feet, so my body was found like right before the traffic light. Yeah, pretty wild.
För Kevin blev den 11 september ett slags uppvaknande.
Are you like a family member or?
Well, I was one of the guys who was hurt. I'm a New York City firefighter. I was one of the guys injured.
Han beslöt sig för att leva annorlunda. Men inte bara Kevin förändrades.
Building designs have changed because of 9/11. Politics has changed. Foreign policy has changed. Now we had preemptive strike, right? Civil policy has changed because of the Patriot Act, right? And then how we treat prisoners of war. Human rights.
That single incident changed America an awful lot, because up until that point, the American people thought, and myself included, that the United States was so powerful that nothing like that could ever happen to us.
9/11 made us realize that the two oceans and the strong Pentagon budget weren't enough to protect us.
And it certainly has brought national security, defense issues to the fore in a way they had not been since the Cold War era. And we now seem to be in a perpetual war on terror, much like the war on drugs, a war that goes on forever, will cost trillions of dollars, and can't be beaten because there is no identifiable enemy.
And I think that's why, in some ways, this election is so important, because what happens overseas, what happens in the United States, really matters to people now.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Hannah. Happy birthday to you. Woohoo! Make a wish. Okay.
Is America on the right track? It's not the safe place that we thought that it was 16 years ago.
Very good, Mom.
Thanks.
You know, I really don't believe that the world is ever going to return to what it was. I don't think that we're going to be able to say, okay, good, we're safe.
Jag tänkte på det här att vi har sett nu 16 år av Clinton och Bush och sen 11 september och
finanskris, allmän oro.
Ja, och Amerikas status som supermakten är ifrågasatt, sägs det.
Imperiets förestående fall.
Every nation, every powerful nation can fall. You know, we see it over history that you can put the wrong people in place and the wrong things that happen, and then next thing you know, you're going downhill and falling. So those are some of my concerns.
I sure think America is indeed a superpower in decline. We're a superpower whose debt is being held on paper in China and Japan.
I don't think America's a superpower in decline. We may get back to where we have more than one superpower, as we did during the Cold War, but I think America will be one of those.
We still have the most commanding presence in the world, and we have a moral bearing, I think, that has been eroded, but that I think that can be restored quickly, whoever wins, John McCain or Barack Obama.
I don't think we're in decline. I think we don't know about that until maybe 50 years later. And we look at what we were and what we are.
Tillbaka i Washington är det dags att summera. Många människor är oroligare idag än de var 1992. Men nya generationer i USA föds alltid med framtidstro. Så är det också med ungdomarna vi mött.
It is a very exciting time, mostly because there's so much talk about change, and I want to know exactly what that would mean.
You know, everyone says history is most likely about to be made, so I think the country is headed for growth. Growth as a nation. It can only get better from here. As long as I keep working hard and, you know, my achievements speak for themselves, like, I definitely have a bright future with anything I do. That's what I've always been taught, and it's happened so far, so it'll continue to happen.
The United States is a very futuristic country. Like, they look to the future. You know, they're not like set in the past or the present. Everything is future. So you have to have a positive outlook about everything.
En president är på väg hem i sin helikopter. Och en sista expert i huvudstaden tar statistiken till hjälp för att förutse vem som ska åka i den de närmaste åren.
One of the key things about our elections is that the most optimistic candidates typically win. We have statistical models of election outcomes, and they all say that it should be a Democratic year. They're based on the economy, which is always a big predictor. They're based on war and peace, number of casualties. They're based on evaluations of the incumbent president, who's very unpopular. And they're based on the view that it's time for a change or we should keep the same course. 25% of the public thinks we should keep the same course. So I think Obama probably will inevitably win, but who knows?
Du har ju sagt att den här filmen ska heta Från bild till Barack. Men risken är ju då att tittarna tror att vi är säkra på att Barack Obama kommer att vinna, eller hur?
Ja, fast det handlar ju om en epok. Från utmanaren Clinton till utmanaren Obama. Vem som än landar där borta så är det ju ett vägskäl han står inför. Ett vägval som blir avgörande.
Ja, för nästa epok.
McCain eller Obama.
Spännande.